December of 1941, Wade Phillips made his second donation of 91,520 acres of land to the Boy Scouts of America. This donation included some of the prime camping and outdoor recreation areas here at Philmont, as well as his ranching headquarters and an operating ranch. Mr. Phillips' intention was for the ranching operation to help fund the camping and outdoor high adventure programs the BSA was developing at Philmont. The ranch included a variety of livestock, such as cattle, horses, burros, chickens, sheep, and a herd of American bison. So how did Wade Phillips end up with a herd of bison? Well, before we tell you that story, let's talk a little bit about the American bison in general. Bison are the largest land mammals in North America and are generally divided into two subspecies, plains bison and wood bison. Some divide the plains bison into two groups, the northern plains or mountain bison and the southern plains bison. Now, in the 1600s, it was estimated there were between 30 and 60 million and maybe as many as 100 million bison stretched from the Alaska-Canada border to South Texas and from California to the Virginia Tidewater area and from New England down to Florida. Nearly every part of North America was part of the bison's range. As Europeans began to settle in the east and then start their westward migration, they pushed the bison out, and by 1802, there were no bison left in the state of Ohio. 1830 saw the beginning of the end for the American bison as the mass destruction of the once great herds began in earnest. Within 10 years, by 1840, there were no bison remaining west of the Rocky Mountains. In the 1860s, the transcontinental railroads were being constructed across the Great Plains and divided the bison into a northern and southern herd. In 1870, the Germans developed a process to tan bison hides into fine leather. This directly resulted in the killing of nearly 2 million bison in 1870 alone. In 1871, a Pennsylvania tannery developed a new method for commercially tanning bison hides, and this process made bison hunting a year-round activity. Ranchers began to discover that bison were commercially viable, so they would capture free-ranging bison to start private commercial herds. In 1872, bison were being killed at the rate of 5,000 per day every day of the year. As bison hunting became a very popular sport for the wealthy, and tens of thousands of hunters came west to participate. Also in 1872, Yellowstone National Park was formed, and all the wildlife within its borders were protected against hunting. Now, interestingly, Yellowstone is the only place in North America where bison have roamed free from prehistoric times through the present day. By 1875, there were almost no bison left in Texas, and by 1876, the great southern bison herd was completely gone. The last of the free-roaming bison in Texas were killed in 1877. In 1880, the mass destruction of the northern herd began, and here in New Mexico, a law was passed to protect the bison, but by then, all were gone from the territory. In 1882, more than 10,000 bison were killed in a single hunt of the northern herd. Hunters thought the bison had moved to Canada, but they were wrong. They simply had been eliminated. By mid-1883, nearly all of the bison in the United States were gone. It's estimated that in 1884, only 325 bison remained in the United States, with 25 of them being in Yellowstone National Park. In response, Congress tasked the United States Army with protecting those 25 Yellowstone bison from poachers. In 1889, William Hornaday, the head of the New York Zoological Park, today we know this as the Bronx Zoo, estimated that there were just over 1,000 bison remaining in North America, 85 free-ranging, 200 in Yellowstone, 550 in Canada, and 256 in various zoos and private herds. By 1902, private herds had grown to about 700 bison, but the Yellowstone herd had dwindled to 23 known animals. In 1905, the American Bison Society is founded by a group of private citizens, including Hornaday and President Teddy Roosevelt. The Society's mission is to protect and restore the bison population in the United States. Their initial effort is to donate 12 bison to the Wichita National Forest Preserve. In 1908, the National Bison Range is established in Montana as a permanent home for a bison herd donated by the American Bison Society. This herd numbers 34 bison, which are purchased by the Society from a private herd also in Montana. By 1910, the American Bison Society census estimates that there are 2,108 bison in North America, almost equally divided between Canada and the United States. By 1919, the bison population in North America is estimated to be around 12,520. And in 1924, the National Bison Range donates 218 bison to a number of public herds to aid in genetic diversity amongst these herds. This is the first of many donations and additional sales completed by the National Bison Range, and it's where we pick up the story with the Philmont Bison herd. Now, local newspaper accounts tell us that the first 2 Philmont bison arrived in Cimarron by train in 1926. It is likely these bison were purchased from the National Bison Range through the American Bison Society, and were likely shipped from the National Bison Range rather than the Bronx Zoo due to its closer proximity to New Mexico. Over the next few years, Mr. Phillips purchased additional bison for his herd. Here at the National Scouting Museum, we have one of the 2 mounted Philmont bison heads you can see on the ranch. The other is in the trophy room at the Via Philmonte. The Philmont bison have been genetically tested and are 100% American Plains bison. By the way, did you know that the scientific name for American bison is bison, bison, bison? Experts say you can just call them bison, and the common term buffalo appears to have come about as a result of anglicizing the French term for beef. Since their introduction to Philmont in 1926, the bison herd has made its home in what is commonly known as the buffalo pasture, which runs along Highway 21 as you're driving from Cimarron to Philmont. Now, the current herd numbers between 125 and 140, and in order to maintain a healthy herd each year, a number of the bison are culled via hunts, which help raise money for Philmont, or for food. Now, for those of you who've been to a Philmont Training Center conference, bison barbecue or bison burgers are a great treat on Western night. In the near future, Philmont will be introducing Philmont bison jerky and meat sticks in the trail meals and for sale at the Tooth of Time Traders. Now, on your next visit to Philmont, look for the Philmont bison herd as you're making that drive to the ranch from Cimarron. Now, keep in mind, these bison are wild animals, so don't approach them closely. Admire them from a distance and maybe take a couple of photos or a video for your friends back home. You can learn more about the American bison by following the links in the description of this video. Well, thanks for joining us as we look forward to seeing you next time as we explore more artifacts and history from the National Scouting Museum here at Philmont Scout Ranch.